and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleanor and welcome to the start of a reading vlog. It has been a while since I've done one of these and I'm very excited to take you along with me this week as I hopefully read lots of books and share my thoughts as I'm reading. If you've been following me on other spaces of the internet over the last few months, you'll know that I've been in a huge reading slump. I have been off my reading game and I'm quite behind on my StoryGraph reading goal of 52 books for the whole year, so I would like to make inroads into catching up. I have so many books on my TBR that I'm really excited to read and get to, but I just haven't been in a reading space, and I'm really hoping that I'm getting back into the swing of things because I'm currently reading a really amazing book and it has really motivated me to pick it up and read. Before I dive into talking about the book I'm currently reading, I want to discuss Temeraire by Naomi Novik. If you've been watching any of my other videos, you'll know I'm hosting a read-along of this series with Faye from Books and Chocoholic, and in March we finished Temeraire. Later on this week, on Saturday evening, we will be hosting our first live show for this first book. I don't think this video will be out before then, but the video will still be up on YouTube and I will link it in the description if you want to hear Faye and I chat about this first book. There's still plenty of time to join in the read-along, and it's a long book series, but the books are quite short and very easy to read and digest. We'll be reading the next book in the series in April, but I'm not going to be starting that in this vlog. I will probably read it closer to the end of the month so that I retain all of the information to discuss at the next live show. I have also been reading the Gorman Gast Trilogy this year so far. I'm a couple of hundred pages in, or page 160, and I will get more read this week. I've been listening to it partially on audiobook, and you definitely can hear my cat having a fit in the hall. Sorry about that, Casper is very needy. I've been really enjoying this. It's a very slow read. It's so quirky and weird. It's a gothic setting, everyone's very strange, and there's so many rules about being in this kingdom and about being about the ruling class, all these rules and ceremonies you have to follow, and they're just very bizarre and odd, and the things they've done for hundreds and hundreds of years and generations. So at this point in the story, I still don't really fully know where we're going and what's going on, but I'm having a wonderful time just experiencing this strange gothic city world. It's been a fun experience. So I will get more read of that this week. The book I've currently been reading is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. She is a Belgian author and she first published this book in 1995 in French, so it is translated and it is so good. I have read 69% of the book on my Kindle. I think it's only a couple of hundred pages long. It's not a very long book, but it's science fiction, it is dystopian, and as you can tell by the title, I Who Have Never Known Men, it is a very unique perspective, and it's not a book I want to kind of explain what's going on. There's this young woman described as a child, and her and 39 other women are in a bunker and they have never known or interacted with men, and it goes from there. And it is such an intriguing concept, and the narrator, this child, this young woman, is so unreliable as a narrator. It is just a really interesting experience. So I have about 31% left of this book. I will be finishing that today, and I'm really excited by it. It has really got me enthused with reading, and I just want to keep that momentum going. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to pick up next. I think I'm just going to finish this book and just pick something and go for it. I don't want to plan out my reading too much because that's been my pitfall lately, and that's why I've not been reading. But it's Monday, the 1st of April, so I'm going to take you along with me this week and we will see what I get read. And as usual, I will put in the corner at the end of every day what I get read that day, and we'll total it up for the week and see how I did. And this is in an effort for me to try and catch up with my reading goal. I'm using my phone to film, so I can't check how many books behind my 52 books for the year goal I am, but I will check, and the next clip I film I will let you know what that is, and we'll see if I can read a couple of books this week and get me on the way to catching back up. So let me know in the comments what you're reading this week. I would love to have a chat with you, and yeah, come along and see if I can make a dent into my TBR that is ever growing. even though I've not been reading from it very successfully. It's now much later, and I have finished I Who Have Never Known Men, and it was so good. I have rated it 5 stars, and it's a science fiction dystopian. And to be honest, when you read the blurb, you kind of feel like you know what you're getting yourself in for. There's certain things that might have happened, you'll guess where things are going, and let me tell you, you do not see where this is going at all, but more in a way that it's quite like a literary fiction. The author really explores just lots of different concepts and feelings, and yeah, it's just one of those books that's really going to stick with me. Yeah, it's one of those ones you're just gonna have to read for yourself. I would say, even if you don't particularly enjoy like dystopian, it raises so many interesting ideas, and yeah, so I think I explained a bit about the concept. So it's like a group of women, 40 of them, varying ages, but one of them is a child, are in this bunker guarded by men, and they've been in there for so long that they've lost all sense of society and being. They eat their food the same way every day. They get like whipped by the guards if they act out. They're not allowed to touch each other. You're gonna knock the tripod over. You gonna sit with me? Yeah, say hello. They're not allowed to talk to each other, not allowed to interact in the same way. And the child, who grows up to be a young woman, is the only one that doesn't have memories of before all of the women were basically kidnapped and put into this bunker with the guards. So she is the only one that doesn't have memories of before. So she feels so different to the other women, and you're following from her point of view. So an aspect of being an unreliable narrator, because she has no concept to anything before being in that space. And it's just a really, really interesting read. It's quite slow paced and it's very introspective, and it didn't go the way I was expecting it to. But that's because when you read something like that, you kind of anticipate like a big loud story, a big loud ending, a big loud answer, and that's not what this was. And to know that it was written in 1995 by a survivor of like World War II, and the author herself and her family are Jewish, it really adds a lot of perspective and context to the story. And yeah, you should definitely read it. It's like 200 pages or something, so would definitely recommend. So I did finish that tonight. I have then read about 12 pages of the Gorman Gast trilogy. That sounds ridiculous to update you when I've read 12 pages, but this book is such a slow read because it's classic fantasy. And yeah, I'm happy with my 12 pages. I have been listening to it on audiobook. A wonderful person, I'll leave them linked below, has been doing audiobook reading on YouTube, because I believe this book is now into the public domain because of how old it is, because it's classic. And this narrator for this audiobook is fantastic. I think they're just doing it off their own back. They're not like a actual audiobook narrator by career. It's so good, but I'm gutted that I've looked ahead and they've only just finished book 1, and that's taken them a couple of years to do because it's quite a slow book, and obviously doing your own audiobook and editing it and uploading it is very time consuming. So I will only have the joy of the audiobook for this first book in the trilogy, but it is grounding me very well into this world. So yeah, when I listen to the audiobook for about 20 minutes, half an hour, I get 12 pages. So that's about all I can say about that. So I'm just going to keep chipping away day by day, week by week. It is my read for most of the year probably. We'll see how quickly I get through it. But I'm really enjoying the gothic atmosphere, and yeah, just this really weird characters. Anyway, the next book I'm going to be picking up is New Gillan Street by Elliot J. Harper. I was wonderfully sent this by the publisher, Flower on the Wall Press, so thank you again for sending this for me to review, proof copy. It's not been long out, and it's a science fiction kind of political story, and I'm very intrigued by it. I've read the first chapter and it seems very interesting. Yeah, in a politically neutral place, the main character's orderly life is disrupted when a neighbour runs for mayor. There's shocking deaths, there's strange forest creatures, some arranged marriages, and lots of secret clandestine things happening. The main character and his neighbours must rally together, resisting the encroaching darkness and fighting for their freedom before the world crumbles. So if that premise didn't kind of strike a fancy to you, I don't know what will. So I'm picking this up next. I probably won't read an awful lot before I get into bed just now, but I'm intrigued to pick up on this more tomorrow and see how far I can get. It's not a very long book. It's 246 pages. So I could definitely get this read in the next couple of days if I prioritise it, and that is what I'm hoping to do. As I said earlier, talking about my reading goal for the year, the StoryGraph has told me I'm 4 books behind my 52 books in the year reading challenge, and I do want to kind of focus this week in trying to catch that gap back up, because the longer I leave it, the bigger the gap will be, and I won't reach my goal of 52 books, which is kind of been my minimum read for the last couple of years. I have just reduced that gap to 3 books behind because I finished I Who Have Never Known Men, so I want to keep that kind of momentum going and perhaps finish New Gillan Street in the next couple of days if I can keep my reading mojo on. But I'll be definitely having an early night tonight. I think it's just gone 10 o'clock. I'm really tired. That Saturday, Sunday there, Easter weekend, my sister and I had our small business at New Lanark in central Scotland, where we were doing an Easter market. We sell candles and wax melts. I do have my website linked in the description if anyone is ever interested in ordering some candles and stuff. Small plug, but it was more just we were there all weekend, so I worked full time last week and I'm working full time this week, and I didn't have the weekend off, so I'm just very tired, so I need to prioritise sleep. So I will leave it there, and I'll check back in with you tomorrow, and I'll let you know what else I get read through the rest of this week. It's now Tuesday. It's actually lunchtime. I work from home. That's why I'm filming this clip just now. I haven't managed to read anything yet today. I start work at 7:30 and I don't really get an opportunity to read much during the day. Very occasionally my work allows me to listen to an audiobook, but a lot of the time I'm reading and writing up risk assessments and stuff like that, so I can't listen to a story at the same time. But I want to check in with you about New Gillan Street. I read about 35 pages last night before I went to bed, and I'm really enjoying it. I finally hit that kind of first 30 pages, 40 pages into a new story to kind of get like pulled in. You have to get to the inciting incident, because before that you're just getting like the prelogue of the world and you're just getting lots of info dump. But the inciting incident, I can't even say that, has happened, and I'm very, very interested now. It seems like it's going to be quite a quick read. There's a lot of chapters in here for such a small book. Each chapter is only like 3 or 4 pages max, so it's quite a snappy book. So after work, I'm hoping to get a fair bit more read, and I'm going to have lots of housework to do after work, so I'll hopefully listen to more Gorman Gast as well. So that's Tuesday's update so far. I will check back in with you after work and we'll see where I get to. Time for another check-in. I am now past the halfway mark on New Gillan Street. I think I have about 100 pages left, and it's speeding up in terms of my motivation for wanting to get through this book. A lot has happened. I did manage to guess a reveal, although it's not really fully been revealed. There's been enough not so subtle hints that the reader would definitely pick up on, not necessarily the main characters in the story. And I did guess that and predict that, but I don't think that's a big deal. I think that's supposed to be pretty obvious. But the small community kind of politics of this are really interesting, and it just goes to show, even when you are a kind of offshoot of a planet and you crash land to kind of terraform a new world, and you try to keep politics out of how you run it, and you keep it all like kind of utopia-esque, that things always eventually turn sour, because these people who we're assuming are human, although their origin planet isn't Earth, it is based on kind of Earth culture, human culture, the politics and people wanting power and to rule over others and have their way always wills out, always comes out in people, and people's wanting to like kind of basically subjugate people and boss people about always kind of prevails in humanity. So yeah, just getting to the nitty-gritty past the halfway mark, and I don't know if I'll get this finished tonight. I'm just about to get ready for bed. I've just fed the cats. They're kind of before dinner kind of meal to kind of calm them down. I'm going to run them about a bit, because if I don't play with my cats a lot before bed, then they do tend to wake me up in the middle of the night because they're full of energy, because they're rag dolls, so they have lots and lots of energy. So I don't know if I'll get this finished tonight, but I will give it a good go. But yeah, I'm very much enjoying this. And now it's Thursday. I actually missed filming a clip yesterday on Wednesday. Time just got away from me and I ended up not picking up my phone to film. However, I did finish reading New Gillan Street. I really enjoyed this. This was a very fast-paced kind of dystopian sci-fi. Quite political, as I'd said in like the earlier on clips. And I did enjoy it. I had a good time. I would say that it does kind of tie up quite neatly. All the ducks in a row are ticked off. You get all your answers. And I don't know, it just wasn't quite satisfying, so that's why it didn't get a full 5 stars from me. But it was still a good read. I really enjoyed it, and I would be interested to see what this author kind of writes in the future. But yeah, Flandwall Press is a small publisher, so it was fun to read books from them and share them with the world. But if you're interested in a kind of political dystopian sci-fi, this is definitely one to give a go. And I really did like meeting the aliens and natural inhabitants of this planet that they're on, and learning about their culture and stuff. That's always just a really nice touch, is how people write different kind of alien species, for want of a better word. I then really struggled to pick what to read next, and what I decided on was the second Ice Planet Barbarians book. I've got them on my Kindle and I started reading that. It's very much a departure from what I normally read, but a bit of kind of an alien romance is just good fun. And my sister's read the first couple and says they're not that bad. They're quite good. So that's a wee ridiculous read in between. I'll probably later on today, after I finish work, pick another physical TBR book off of my shelf down the bottom of my bookcase there, but I haven't yet decided what that is. And Haku is being a cuddly, grumpy sook. You gonna come say hello? Look, say hello to everyone. Haku's birthday is on the 13th of April, and he'll be a whole year old, and he's 5 kilograms, and you're a big boy, and he's got no brain cells. Yeah? Not a thought behind those eyes. He doesn't even know his name. Doesn't recognise his name at all. yes, so I think this reading vlog is going to be more cat appearances than actual reading. But that's another book down for this week, and I'm excited. I feel like I'm back in my kind of reading game. I'm not 100% sure what I want to read next. It's not like a random romance. So I'll need to give it some thought. But I will definitely check back in with you later on today after I've finished work and I read some more. And here's Calcifer. I don't know if you've seen as much of him as you have Haku, because Haku is much cuddlier. So I've changed outfit. You can tell that it's not Thursday anymore. I did not check back in with you after the last clip you just saw, because I'm terrible at vlogging and I need to get back in my groove and back to doing it the way I used to. So I finally decided what my next physical TBR book is going to be. And that is Brave New World. I decided to stick to the theme of science fiction for this vlog. Even this alien romance I'm reading is sci-fi, so it fits. And that was very unintentional. But science fiction is my absolute favourite genre, so it seems like the perfect time to dive into this. I have owned this edition for many years, and this is a book that's interested me for a long time. I really enjoy reading classic sci-fi. I love, because of where we are technologically right now in the world, we have good perspective and understanding, or we're able to understand what we think the future could look like in a very interesting, intricate way. So I love classic sci-fi because it's so interesting to see what they thought our time would look like back then. It's just so fascinating to me. I really, really enjoy it. So I'm very excited to read into this classic. I've also got Brave New World Revisited. I owned that for a very long time, thinking that it was just a normal edition of Brave New World because the covers are practically identical. So if I can read this, then I can also read the revisited version and get both off my physical TBR, which would be fantastic. I'm not sure if I'll get an awful lot of that read tonight because it's Friday evening. I'm really tired after a week of busyness at work. I work from home, but it is a very demanding job, so I'm very tired. So I don't know how much I'll get read tonight. I might just read a little bit to start into Brave New World, and I might start the third Ice Planet Barbarian book because if you're on a roll, you're on a roll, and I'm finishing books. So that is exciting. But I definitely won't be finishing any more books in this vlog. I think 3 is fantastic for 5 days of reading when I have not been reading much at all for a very long time. So I will check back in with you later on tonight to see what I get read and to close out this vlog. But if you've got any science fiction recommendations of books that you know I haven't read, or you're just spreading them out into the ether, please leave them in the comments below. I'm always looking for more recommendations for sci-fi. I love standalone sci-fi and I love series. I've got a few series on my radar already, but I need to buy more of the books, or I'm waiting for the rest of the series to be published before I start them. I just love science fiction. I used to think I loved fantasy the most, but as I've gotten older, I think science fiction is my favourite genre, although I do read a lot of fantasy. Just my absolute favourite. Just reading Brave New World with Haku. Oh, did you fall? Come back. It's now much later. This is going to be my last check-in of this vlog, and I've read about 36 pages of Brave New World, and this has got such an interesting start. Like, I knew it was about like genetic engineering and brainwashing and stuff, but to dive right in page 1 to be talking about how they're medically manipulating embryos and how they're brainwashing embryos and growing everyone in vats and tanks, and everyone's got like sound systems next to their heads from the moment of like embryo conception. It was just really interesting to know that it isn't from like a couple of years old that kicks in. It kicks in very, very early. So it's a very strange start. I will say that it is kind of annoying me. I don't have my tripod for this clip. It is slightly annoying me, the repetition of words. And I don't know if that's just because I'm still at this beginning part of the book where you're with one character who's taking on like a group of students around the factory, the world, and like explaining things. It's kind of like just like a tour group basically for students. I don't know if it's just that character in particular, that their affect when they're talking, they repeat their words a lot, or if it's just like a stylistic writing choice. That's kind of annoying me slightly, and it's just kind of like it's just weird to read. But apart from that, I'm very intrigued to see where this goes. The blurb says a lot and not much at the same time, but yeah, I'm quite intrigued, and I will definitely get more of this read. If not tonight, then over the next few days. It's quite a quick, maybe not a quick read because it's a classic. It's almost 100 years old, but it's like 230 pages, so it won't take me too long to read. I'm probably screwing myself over by reading all of the shorter books on my physical TBR, but you got to do what you got to do to get back into reading and get over your reading slump. I'll probably read more on my Kindle later of the romance book I'm reading, and yeah, I think that's it. I think this has been a very successful reading vlog. I actually last month started a reading vlog, tried and struggled for a day or two, and then just abandoned it and deleted the footage because I just still wasn't out of my reading slump, and I was forcing it too much, and it was just really frustrating me. And it was going to be like a rubbish vlog because I wouldn't have read much, and I was visibly annoyed in all the clips. So I'm glad that this has been a bit more successful. So let me know what you've been reading lately. Be sure to give me some science fiction recommendations. I hope you enjoyed the abundance of cat videos and appearances. They are my whole world. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.